We will have about a 30-minute segment now on professionalism in bar leadership, and then a segment sort of built into that on the Leadership Academy.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon as we look at the importance of professionalism for section leadership. Our path today is going to be taking us on defining professionalism. We're going to look at the causes of unprofessional conduct, and then we're going to look at the new emphasis on professionalism regulation, and then we're going to look at how you can integrate professionalism initiatives into your sections. But first, there's a word from my sponsor that is because most people in the Florida Bar know nothing about the Henry Latimer Center for Professionalism. So I want to take just a moment to tell you a little bit about us. And that is that we are a partnership that is comprised of 3 separate entities that have joint responsibilities. And the first is, importantly, the Florida Bar Standing Committee on Professionalism. And Sean Desmond is one of the former chairs. And this year, Michael Schneider is our current chair. And this is a group of about 40 members who serve for a 3-year term. And the focus this year is on these 6 different initiatives. Independent of that, we have the Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism that is chaired by Justice R. Fred Lewis. And this is comprised of members of the judiciary, the law schools, some of the practicing members, and of course members of the Board of Governors. Some of the members of the commission are appointed by the court, and some are appointed by the Florida Bar. And what we know is that Justice Lewis's focus has been primarily on professionalism enhancement mechanisms. The Latimer Center, one of the big things that we do is we do a lot of training and education. Topics are ranging from professionalism to leadership to creating mentoring programs. We do everything from a 4-hour workshop for individuals who are running afoul of the disciplinary system. They can come and spend the morning with us learning about new strategies for how to deal with situations more professionally. 2, we design about a 2-hour segment of the Practicing with Professionalism program that is one of the hallmark programs of the Young Lawyers Division that all new lawyers go through within their first year of practice. And we do a host of other programs as well. Something that we've really been proud of is we've had the opportunity this year to do about 24 modules of curriculum for the Leadership Academy. And this includes all the presentation, the speaker notes, and all the supplemental materials. So this has really been an honor for us. And then, of course, we have a whole host of other responsibilities. Independent of that, these are some of the pre-approved CLE programs for which professionalism credit can be granted that Jacina Haston, my assistant director, and I do when we're out on the road. We've got a new one as well. It's called Professionalism and Expectation in Florida. So with that brief look about the Henry Latimer Center for Professionalism and the committee and the commission, let's take a look at what is professionalism. And I can tell you that this is the working definition that was created by the Committee on Professionalism. And as you can see, it is not just complying with the minimal standards. It's that something else. And they've identified that the essential ingredients are fourfold: character, competence, commitment, and civility. So with that, I want to drill down a little bit into something that gets a lot of attention, and that is the aspect of civility. I don't know how many of you caught the ABA cover story in January of 2013, but it was featured about keeping it civil and what the problem is on a national level. On a state level, we know in September of 2011, the Supreme Court amended the oath of admission to include the civility pledge, which now all members of the Florida Bar are bound by. On a regional basis, we know in South Florida, collectively there were 5 voluntary bar associations initially that got together and created a program called Got Civility. And then 37 additional voluntary bars joined on, as well as the federal and the state courts. And so Civility has been in the news at the national level, at the state level, and of course at the local level. So let's look at another important aspect of professionalism. And we really won't have time to really delve into this, but there's one aspect in particular that I want to focus on. So when we look at the causes of unprofessional conduct, that's really important because if we try to, we have to understand what the trigger is or the motivation is, for the payoff is for someone to act unprofessionally. Otherwise, you can't come up with a remediation program. So what we do is we have looked at it and determined that it somewhat depends upon the stage of one's career. And while it's not a one-size-fits-all model, we've got it grouped into three basic categories. And the first category is those individuals who are just entering the profession. Theoretically, these individuals are learning the process and they're learning the expectations. So the reasons that they may be unprofessional will differ from the individuals who are more seasoned attorneys. And what we find is that historically it was the more seasoned attorneys at about the 20-year mark, 16 to 20-year mark that were running afoul of the disciplinary system and were coming through. Now it's getting reduced and it's coming in at an earlier stage. What seems to happen for the seasoned professionals is it's more of a situational response, and they've gotten away with not being nice, and then not being professional, and then not ethical, and you want to catch it before they stray too far off the path once they're on that slippery slope. Now, before I put this other one up, okay, good. I wanted to make sure Mr. Harkness was gone, because this is not an official Florida bar category. This is a Linda Calvert Hanson construct. And I don't know how else to categorize them, but I have a category that I call, the incorrigible or chronic jerks. And when it comes down to it, these individuals have been through the disciplinary system multiple times, and the only thing that we can do is report them and see that they're disbarred. Okay, so we have no influence over them. But it's really group one that I want to talk to you about, because this is a group that the sections can really make a difference with. When we're looking at what's happening for those individuals who are just entering the profession, we know that many of them have never stepped foot in a courtroom or a law firm. I was an assistant dean for 10 years, so I can tell you this is a fact. And what happens is many times, whether it's subconsciously or not, their expectations are shaped by what's in the media, what's portrayed in Hollywood. And we know that that is absolutely not accurate or how lawyers should really be portrayed. Additionally, what's happening is, today in Florida, there are over 10,000 JD students sitting in one of the 12 law schools in Florida. And we have 2,500 people take the bar every year. And of course, they're eager to join the ranks of the almost 100,000 members of the Florida bar. And for some of us, it's not like it used to be, where you knew everybody in your legal community. The sheer size has altered that dynamic. There's another thing that's happening for those who are entering the practice, and that is that the traditional model where you learned how to be a lawyer once you got into practice has changed. We know that for the government lawyers who used to have people who specialized in doing the training and bringing up of new lawyers, that the whole motto seems to be doing more with less, and that includes less people. What's happening in big law? Well, hiring is off, and we also know that it's a buyer's market, so that the clients are not willing to pay the salaries of the first and second year associates as they were willing to do in the past. Also, we know that NALP, which is the National Association of Legal Professionals, tracks the employment rates for new graduates. And of those new graduates who began their career in Florida last year in a law firm, 60% went small firm. And we know that the hiring dynamics and the training model in a small firm is very different. And that's not even looking at the 6% who went solo straight out of law school. But what's important here is this is a group with whom we as a section can make a difference if we really try to come up with strategies to work with our new lawyers. You know, some of your sections already have highly successful fellowship programs. Renee will tell you about the section sponsoring Leadership Academy Fellows, which is another dynamic way to reach them. Anything that you can do to come up with programs that are going to help you reach the newer lawyers, the newer students, the recent graduates, is going to be extremely beneficial. And that's not to say that the Young Lawyers Division does not do a Herculean job of trying to marshal these individuals. But when they're interested in some substantive areas and they reach out to your individual sections, that is where you can really make a difference. So we're going to spend a minute now, and we're going to be looking at how professionalism is enforced in Florida, now that we have a cursory understanding of the causes. And the reason is because there's some really important shifts happening in professionalism that many people are really not aware of. So when we look at how professionalism is enforced, we're going to briefly look at ACAP, which is a Florida Bar program, the Attorney Consumer Assistance Program. We're going to look at the disciplinary system in terms of the cases and the rules, SC 13688. And then we're going to look at one of the newest initiatives, which is the local professionalism panels. So briefly looking at ACAP, what we know about ACAP is that it's the screening mechanism for the complaints that come into the Florida Bar. And many times they are able to resolve situations informally by just picking up the phone and working between the attorney and the client and trying to foster the connection. And if that's not successful and if they feel that there's merit, what they will do is actually send it to one of the branch offices for investigation and, of course, for it to go through the full grievance process. Let's take a quick look at some of the cases. If we had time, I could show a couple of the older cases, and older, I'm talking, 15 years ago, and you would see that there is a very clear shift in the way that the bar and the courts are handling professionalism cases. For the time being, you're going to have to just take it from at the face value that there are some significant changes. The first case that we're going to look at is the retainer case, and in PWP and when we work with law schools and in some of our other presentations, we actually show the video clip because this happened. Mr. Retainer was plaintiff's attorney against in a suit against DuPont, EI DuPont and Muers, and his conduct was recorded during this videotaped deposition, in which he leaned forcefully over the deposition table. And he at one point started to run around the table. He also was, at one point, he picked up an exhibit tag, balled it up, and flicked it across at opposing counsel. You can actually see him, he's sitting right here, and he's got his consultant sitting next to him. And he was up and so belligerent that he actually, you can see the consultant taking and trying to pull him back down twice. And you can hear the consultant say to him, "Calm down, take a Xanax." Okay? Also, that's his consultant. Also, you can hear the court reporter exclaim, "I can't work like this." So it's a pretty easy case. They send the video recording to the grievance committee and run it through the process. And in this situation, the referee concluded that his conduct was outrageous, disruptive, and intimidating to the witness, opposing counsel, and other persons present during the deposition and prejudicial to the administration of justice. And as you can see, he was publicly reprimanded and suspended for 60 days. Sadly, Retainer Part 2 has surfaced. And back in November, we got the report of the referee based on a subsequent document review session where he was still representing DuPont, going against DuPont. And the referee in that situation concluded that he created an atmosphere of intimidation, bullying, and abuse by his actions in which he completely ignored all aspects of civility, decorum, and professionalism. And the referee recommended that he be suspended for 3 years, followed by 2 years of probation. And Mr. Rettiner has requested a rehearing. Now we're going to fast forward and we're going to take a look at what's happened in the Norkin case. And this opinion was handed down on Halloween. The court noted, this is as a result of numerous instances of unprofessional conduct that happened in exchanges with judges as well as other attorneys. And the Supreme Court noted that it was profoundly concerned with the lack of civility and professionalism demonstrated by some members of the bar. And then it reviewed the steps that have been taken: the creation of the Henry Latimer Center, the Standing Committee on Professionalism, the Commission on Professionalism, the creation of SC 13688. And it said that this court concluded, "We do not tolerate unprofessional and discourteous behavior. By Mr. Norkin's unprofessional behavior, he has denigrated lawyers in the eyes of the public. His unprofessional conduct is an embarrassment to all members of the Florida Bar." So the bottom line in the Norkin case is that the referee recommended a 90-day suspension and an 18-month probation. The bar said that's not enough, and they recommended 1 year suspension and a public reprimand. And as you can see, the Supreme Court said that's not enough. We're doubling it. So they imposed a 2-year suspension, and not only did they agree with the public reprimand, but that they said that the public reprimand, which is usually administered in front of the Board of Governors, would be in front of the entire Supreme Court. And that was administered in February. And I can tell you that Mr. Norkin recently filed a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court. There's a host of rules that we use as a basis for attorney discipline for both violations of ethics and professionalism. And then we're going to take a brief look at what came out last June in SC 13688, because the rules were further expanded in the definition of the code, where they stated that members of the Florida Bar shall not engage in unprofessional conduct. Unprofessional conduct means substantial or repeated behavior of violating the oath of admission to the bar, the creed, the ideals and goals, the rules, or the decisions. Which takes us to another recent professionalism enforcement mechanism, which is SC 13688 also required that each circuit create a local professionalism panel. And the goal is for them to informally handle professionalism cases at the local level. And they're not trying to supplant the Florida Bar, but what they're trying to do is offer options at the local level for the cases that don't need to give rise to a full look by the Florida Bar. However, they can still be referred to ACAP as well. So where does this take us? Well, for some of us, this might be a surprise, because some of us learned that professionalism was just that aspirational thing we should all strive to do. This shows a very clear shift from professionalism being merely aspirational to being an expectation in Florida. When we look at the big picture, it's evidenced by how the cases are coming out now, how the courts are treating it, and the shift from the older cases. It's also looking at the civility pledge that was added to the oath. It's the 1688, the Code for Resolving Unprofessionalism Complaints. So in our minds, these changes do provide a very clear message that this court places a premium on professionalism, and professionalism is an expectation in Florida. The Florida Bar is also taking additional steps as well. And that is, President Coleman asked the bar staff to draft an e-guide on best practices for effective electronic communication to address some of the perceived issues. And a comprehensive document was created that covers a whole host of topics. Additionally, President Coleman in May charged the Standing Committee on Professionalism with looking at making a review and recommendation about the best practices guide. Additionally, we are to be reviewing all the professionalism guides, principles, ideals, rules on a county level, at section level, and on a statewide basis. And we are charged with drafting and creating a uniform professionalism product, we don't quite know what it's going to be called yet, that integrates the e-guide. And the goal, it's anticipated that this product will be released later this year, and the goal is to get it approved by the Board of Governors and then see if we can get the endorsement by the judges' conferences on it as well. So, how does professionalism impact you in your work, in your sections? Well, we know that it doesn't take a title to make you a leader. We demonstrate that we are leaders by our conduct, by how we influence outcomes and how we can inspire others. At the end of the year, which is going to just fly by, I can tell you after being the chair of the GPSSF section 2 years ago, the opportunity is here for you now to really do some unique things with your section. And as a section leader, you have an opportunity to help others develop and really cultivate themselves. Most of us are not born leaders, but you can take steps to cultivate your new leaders. Renee is going to be talking about one very important step that you can take to do that. But more simply, you can just demonstrate to the members of your executive council or to your section that you believe in them. You can take a hand to them. You can select them for a working group. You can give them a chance to further develop their leadership skills. Ask them to take on a project. Also, whoops, we're behind. We'll catch up. We know that as bar leaders, you can integrate professionalism initiatives into your section's work. For example, some sections already have professionalism and ethics committees. If you're considering an award, see if there's an ethics or a professionalism component you can weave into that award. And one thing that's really important to us is we would be grateful if you would be willing to share that information about your professionalism initiatives in your sections so that we can include them on the center's website and also highlight them in the newsletter that the center puts out, which is called The Professional. Also, for those sections that are reaching out to the law students, one thing we have on our website is section mentoring programs. So if your section is considering it, look at how, and contact some of the other sections that have already created section mentoring programs. Additionally, the Center for Professionalism has created a mentoring toolbox. This has a PowerPoint presentation, all the forms and all the handouts that you would need to create a mentoring program if you're interested. We also know that as a bar leader, we are in the spotlight, and the spotlight is going to shine on you. So now that you can better appreciate the enhanced focus that's on professionalism, and perhaps you've gained some ideas about how you can incorporate these with your group, it's my hope that you embrace these opportunities to find ways to more fully integrate professionalism initiatives within your section, because professionalism matters. It matters to society at large, it matters to our group of lawyers, and it matters to us on an individual level. And now it is my privilege to turn over the next segment to someone I have had pleasure of working with for the past couple of years. She's a former Young Lawyer Division president. She's a member of the Board of Governors. She's currently the president of the Marion County Bar Association, a partner with Mateer Harbert, and by the way, she's also the chair of the Leadership Academy Committee. Renee Thompson.
Thank you all so much. I so appreciate the opportunity to be here today to talk with you about the Academy. I'm especially excited because this is the first time we've ever been able to talk about the Academy at the Section Leadership Conference, because we haven't had the Academy long enough to ever have it coincide with this conference before. For those of you who follow the Bar News, you'll know that the Academy is a new program of the Bar. It was instituted last year when the Board of Governors approved the program, and we began with our first class of fellows. That's what we call the individuals who actually go through the program. And you'll see on our website, which is on the Florida Bar's page, it's floridabar.org/Leadership Academy, what our mission is. We are a mission to help grow the leaders of our profession. And I say profession because it's not only the leaders of this bar, but it's the leaders of the legal profession that we are trying to grow within this mission statement. It's a multi-session training tool. We try to assist a diverse and inclusive group of lawyers in becoming better leaders in their chosen path, which is a difference from our academy versus some other academies which are trying to train leaders up just for their organization. We really think that our graduates are ambassadors for the entire profession. So I'm going to teach you just a little bit about the Academy. I've had the pleasure of working with many of you over the last year. You have come to our sessions to either speak to our fellows about getting involved in your section. You have worked with our fellows, because we have many fellows who come directly from the sections as well. So I want to go through just a few things about the Academy for those of you who may not be familiar with its components, and just to speak very briefly about how you might get further involved. The goals of the Academy are also listed on our website. You'll see it's to enhance leadership skills of these individuals. We're trying to nurture and inspire effective leadership. We're trying to enhance the diversity of leadership within our bar, and also to raise the level of awareness and engagement of lawyers regarding issues affecting the legal profession and what's going on with public service issues. So we really take our mission seriously. You learned a little bit about the strategic bars, the strategic plan of the bar, and we meet every one of the elements of the strategic plan of the bar. So we take that very seriously from the moment that our fellows come to us. Our academy consists of 2 branches. So you'll hear folks that are from the North Branch, and you'll hear folks that are from the South Branch. That's set up by a DCA system. The North Branch encompasses those individuals who fall in the 1st, 2nd, and 5th DCA areas, and of course the Southern Branch is in the 3rd and the 4th. Each branch meets throughout the entire year. They start at annual convention with their kickoff meeting, and then they meet 6 times a year plus graduation at the following convention the following year. So they actually have substantive meetings all around the state, both together as both branches, and also regional meetings as well within their branch. The meetings are typically held on a Friday afternoon. We usually go through Saturday afternoon. That would be a typical meeting unless it coincides, for instance, with like annual convention, which would have been, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, but like the general meeting of the bar that happens in the fall, we do that on a Thursday, Friday. So sometimes it falls on a Thursday depending on when the bar meeting might take place. We have 4 full sessions. We have the annual convention in June. We just had our 2nd meeting at the Voluntary Bar Leaders Conference last week. We also meet at the October Fall Bar meeting. We'll meet with the Board of Governors at their Tallahassee meeting in January. And additionally, they'll have 2 regional sessions in both November and March that take place within their DCA areas. Graduation always happens at annual convention as well. The Leadership Academy Committee, I see, Sean Desmond is here. You'll get to hear from him in a little bit. Our committee is a facilitation group appointed by the president of the bar. We are active, I will say that, because we have a lot of things that go on throughout the year. So it's extremely important to our committee that we have contact and communication with you. These are the folks who will be reaching out to you to try to facilitate, whether it's coming to a meeting to be a speaker on a particular topic, whether it's to come to speak about your section, or if we just reach out to you with regard to curriculum, because sometimes our curriculum overlaps with your substantive area of law. The curriculum itself was developed by the Henry Latimer Center for Professionalism along with the Leadership Academy Committee in formulating the entire program. They help facilitate that program to be put on. And we learn more about the inner workings of the bar, the legal profession, and at all that time, we're trying to enhance the leader's personal skills so that when you are in the positions that you're in, you have the tools necessary and the skills necessary to perform that. So why is that important to you? Because as section leaders, one one of your responsibilities is to find your replacement. Because ultimately, when you move on through your section and out of your leadership role, you need to figure out how the longevity of your section is going to continue. So you need to start thinking about who's in line for leadership, who has the type of personality that we think would really fit with this section and who could really bring it to the next level. Those are the people we want you to send to us. You have an opportunity as section leaders to nominate individuals to the academy. The Leadership Academy Committee does selection upon receiving applications, and we look, there's a specific question to find out who are you letting us know is a leader within your section? Who are your rising stars? And we take that very seriously as a committee because we want to help you promote your section's leadership skills as well, because they get an entire year's worth of programming to figure out all of the things that you're starting to figure out today. They've been working within for over a year. So they're getting an immense amount of information that they can then bring to your section, which only helps your section grow and get better. There's tons of networking opportunities. These were some that were taken last year at we had a bowling event in Tampa, and then of course the voluntary bar conference, that was where we met Winter the Dolphins. So we just put those in there for fun, but they, the fellows spend an immense amount of time together. So your section can benefit from all of these networking opportunities because these folks are interconnected in all different ways in the bar. For instance, we have voluntary bar leaders, we have specialty bar leaders, we have those who are on executive boards within their section, and these folks are intercommunicating and frankly cross-promoting events. So things are happening on a really neat level with the Academy, bringing all of these folks under one umbrella. How to become an Academy Fellow. We select our participants by use of an application process. Those applications are available on the bar's website in December. So I'm going to encourage you as section leaders to please take time within your sections to figure out how you're going to select people to nominate to the Academy in December. It's extremely important to us that we hear from you who it is you want us to look at. I mean, who do you really want us to take some serious look at when you are looking at who your future leaders are for your section? The trial lawyer section actually has a subcommittee where they sit down and they do their own internal examination of who their applicants are, because they want to know who's going to be putting in and who are they going to put their name up there with. Because we do really look seriously at that. The applications to become a fellow are open to all bar members. This is not an age requirement thing. Everyone asks me, do you have to be a young lawyer? Is it too late in my practice to apply? Absolutely not. We have 20-year practitioners in the Academy. I mean, there are individuals from all different areas and practices that we look at who just want to take their leadership to the next level. So we're trying to, like I said, marshal all those people under one umbrella of the bar, pull them together, give them the skill sets they need to figure out what it is they're going to do when they actually take that next step. Applicants with a history of leadership or involvement are preferred. We have individuals who've come to us with absolutely no leadership training. I can tell you they're going to get a letter from us that says, let us see what you do in the future, because if you haven't gotten involved at this point in your career, I have questions about what it is you want to do with the training we're about to give you, because it's an investment. It's an investment on behalf of a bar. It's an investment on behalf of a section if you are sponsoring a fellow within the Academy. So it's very important to us that we find individuals who have shown the capacity and have shown the potential for leadership ability. We have currently all of these graduates from the Academy. We have 59 fellows who graduated at our June meeting. This was when they met with President Pettis and former Chief Justice Ricky Polston at the Supreme Court. And we currently have 61 fellows in the program now that started in June. And these individuals met in June and have started their course. I have a handout for you that I will give to you after my presentation, so you have all the names of all the people who are in the Academy. I can tell you that almost every section in this room has somebody who's a member of the Academy. So it's really important that you get to know who your fellows are, give them opportunities, put them on committees, give them tasks to do, because they're learning and training to do exactly what you need. what you need to know before you apply is that it's a commitment. It's a commitment of time and resources. We have mandatory meetings. A fellow can actually be dropped from the program if they do not participate in the academy. It's not something that they could do willy-nilly. So it's important to us that you nominate individuals who are going to fully be engaged with this process. And then, of course, if you graduate, you get CLE from the program as well, so that if you are out of the office for these 6 terms, that you get an opportunity to get CLE for the time that you're out. Also that you should know is that fellows are responsible for travel expenses. That's where the sections have been absolutely fabulous for the fellows that they've nominated. Many of the sections have come forward with some type of scholarship for those travel expenses. There is no tuition to be part of the academy. This is a program that the bar is paying for the individuals who participate. They just have to get to the meetings. So many of the sections, executive councils have put forward some type of sponsorship for those individuals who are members within their section to help them get to these meetings, because it's an investment in their future leadership as well. There are full and partial scholarships available for those with financial need, and many folks pay for their travel expenses through their firms or otherwise personally. You have the opportunity to nominate them. There are scholarship opportunities for those sections that do offer them, and we help work with the sections to make that happen. So if you have questions as a leader about how to set up a scholarship, how to set up a nomination, please talk to me. I'm on the bar's website under the Board of Governors page, but you can always reach me also on the Leadership Academy page. My information is there. And of course, fellows need to obtain approval from their employer. We require that their employer sign off on their application prior to the year beginning. It's very important to us because we get folks from all over the state, from all different practice areas, whether it be government law, whether it be legal aid, whether it be a private practice. So we require that their employers know where they're going to be because they have the schedule a year in advance. So that's part of the process, and you need to be aware of that when you're choosing folks who are going to fully participate. So hopefully you'll find us individuals who want to enhance their leadership skills, who want to network and interact with others, and who also want to get an insider's look at the role the bar plays in our profession. There's really nothing like our program. I know that many of you have done leadership programs in your area, whether it be Leadership Ocala like I went through, or Leadership Fort Lauderdale, whatever it may be. But this particular program is geared towards becoming a leader within the legal profession. And we bring the best and the brightest to our fellows to help them become those people. I think you're going to see a lot from our academy graduates in the future. So applications are due usually in January. They are available December on the bar's website. They come out during the normal committee appointment process. So when you think about committee appointments, also think about the fact that's when academy applications become available. It's important that you apply during that window. If you have questions on behalf of any section or any questions personally, if it's something you might think you would be interested in doing, please let us know. We have so many individuals who've really grown through this process, and we're starting to see the fruits of this program already. So I encourage you to get your membership to apply. I encourage you to learn more about it if you have questions, and I will pass out to you the current Leadership Academy Fellows so that you know who they are. I also have a section and division list. If you're curious to know who on this list is an actual member, I can tell you that. So please feel free to find me separately for that list. And I thank you all so much for your time, and thank you for the sections who've already done so much to help make this program a success. Thank you.